Next, we'll take a look at how do we actually create equations given certain characteristics or information about a parabola. So in example 1, it tells us first and foremost that the parabola is reflected in the x-axis. If it's reflected, it means that it's negative, okay? And that's an indication that the a value is going to be a negative number. If it's stretched by a factor of 2, then we've got an a value of negative 2. If it moves to the right by 5 units, then the h value has to be plus 5. And if it moves up by 1 unit, then the k value is plus 1, okay, because it's moving up. So if we're going to write these transformations, we have to write them in the vertex form of a quadratic equation, okay, which is given to us there. And now we substitute in our values for a. So this particular, for example 1, it's going to be y equals 2x. And in brackets, we've got x minus 5, because, again, the sign has to flip for the h value. And the k value will be plus 1. In example 2, it tells us that it compresses by a factor of 2/3. Okay, so compression is a function of the a term. And so if it compresses by 2/3, I'm just going to leave it as 2/3. Okay, you could convert that into a decimal, which is 0.4 if you really want to, but you don't have to. And it says that it moves down 5 units. Okay, so it says nothing about the h value, so the h value must be 0. And if it moves down 5 units, then my k value must be negative 5. So this particular one must be 2 over 5 times x squared minus 5. Okay. And then the final example here, it says that it's stretched by a factor of a. Again, stretching is a component of the a term. It's not being reflected, so it's got to be a positive number. And then it says it moves to the left by 6 units. So if it moves to the left 6 units, it must be a negative 6, or the h value must be negative 6. It doesn't say anything about a vertical shift, so the k value must be 0. So you could write this as y is equal to 3 x plus 6 squared. Okay, you could put in plus 0 if you wish. Okay, you don't have to put in the plus 0 at the end, but you could. And again, the key thing here is that because the h factor, or the h variable, is negative 6 in the equation, it has to show up as positive 6 because it's the opposite.